Besides the media, what do you think has been the single biggest beef of President Trump since he took office? Well, this one's easy. Leaks. All the leaks. Everything that gets out on him, from a conversation with the Australian Prime Minister that someone at the State Department got out there, to messages back and forth that ultimately led to his national security advisor, General Mike Flynn, to resign. So it's a paramount problem, and the administration wants to know how and why this keeps happening. Enter some other technologies out there that would avoid the embarrassment of this stuff getting out there, period, by making sure whatever does get to anyone's attention just disappears after it's read. Confide is a company that is behind that. It's a messaging app that essentially self-destructs, or the message well, after you read it. Confide co-founder and president, John Broad, with us right now. Did I pronounce that right?
You did.
Okay. How is that different? I'm showing my technical ignorance here, but how is that different than, let's say, a Snapchat?
Sure. So Confide is a confidential messenger. We combine end-to-end encryption with, as you mentioned, disappearing and also screenshot-protected messaging, really to enable private, secure, and efficient communication, principally among professionals and business people. So Snapchat is not end-to-end encrypted. There's been all kinds of controversy about screenshots on Snapchat. We've solved that.
By the way, how do you solve that?
Right. So after the message is decrypted, and the only thing that can decrypt a message is a unique key that resides in the recipient's device, so we ensure that only the intended recipient can read the message. After it's decrypted, we cover it over with bricks, and you wand your finger over it, which only unveils a sliver of the message at a time. We also remove the sender's name as you unveil the content.
But if you still have a super sensitive sliver there, you could screenshot that.
Yes, you can screenshot on iOS, on iPhone, which is one of our 4 platforms. You can screenshot that, get a couple of words of the message or a sliver of the message. We then kick you out of the message so you can't go back in and keep screenshotting. We then alert the sender that a screenshot was taken. On the other 3 platforms...
Oh, so you would be able to discern that?
Correct. We can detect it, we can't prevent it.
Okay. So
but on
John,
the other 3 platforms...
I'm sorry, I'm slow than you are, but you send me something, I read it, I'm literally following with my finger. It disappears.
So after you read it, you hit close or reply. As soon as you do, it gets deleted from our servers, wiped from the phone. It's gone. You can't save it, archive it, forward it, cut and paste it. It is deleted.
I'm told that that's impossible. No, you know what I mean? That nothing ever disappears on the net. It reappears somewhere.
No, that is exactly the problem that we're solving, right?
Okay.
So the problem with digital communication is that anything you communicate digitally is archived forever in the Internet's permanent digital record. It resides on servers all over the place, and the recipient retains a copy forevermore to do with whatever they want. And that is the problem that we're solving with Confide.
Oh, so I'm replying to you.
Right.
After you send me this. How long is my reply in there? Or do we just cease and desist with our communication? There's no way to save it, period.
Correct. So you reply, it gets end-to-end encrypted, it gets decrypted on my device, I wand over it, I read it, I hit close or reply, that's gone forever.
Does the White House use this technology?
We actually don't know. As a confidential messenger, we don't have a lot of information about who's using the platform.
Well, you know your customers, right?
We don't, actually.
Really?
Right? So that's the fascinating thing about this. But
you know how many are out there using it?
We do. So we know on an aggregate basis how many people are using the platform on a day, a week, a month. We know how many messages are sent. But we don't have specific information about exactly who's using it. It wouldn't surprise us if political operatives were using it. If you think about it, the people who are great constituents for Confide are those who communicate sensitive information as a matter of course. So you've got lawyers, you've got journalists, exec teams, boards of directors, HR professionals, celebrities, high net worth individuals, political operatives, regardless on which side of the aisle, certainly fit into that category.
All right. Now, Snapchat, is going public.
Yes.
You're not public.
Correct.
But are you entertaining it? Or are you just looking at Snapchat and saying, all right, let's see how they do?
We're a 3-year-old privately held company. We're venture-backed, backed by the best early-stage investors.
But you must be looking at this and saying, I mean,
of course, well, yeah.
It's going to make billions.
We also looked at the WhatsApp acquisition of $20+ billion and said that would be a terrific exit for us as well.
All right, so you're waiting to see that. But again, in government, you wouldn't be able to discern when you keep track of how many customers you have. You can't discern whether some are in government or at the White House or in the Senate, right? You just know
We know that people are using the platform. We know how many they are. We don't, again, have a ton of information about exactly who's using the platform.
All right. What do you think of the Snapchat thing? Apples and oranges, I know, but a lot of big fuss with that.
I think it's a real coin toss. I think there's, anytime you've got 140 billion people using it 18 times a day, there's certainly a lot of value.
Can you quantify how many use yours per day?
We can, again, in an aggregate and anonymous basis, we know how many messages are sent on the platform and how many people are using the platform. But one of the things I want to hit here is this is just like the way conversations used to be, right? If you think about it, throughout time, the spoken word has allowed conversations to be private and disappearing. These words just disappear. With the advent of digital communication, everything got flipped on its head. We think that's crazy and dangerous, particularly for sensitive communication, which is why we created Confide.
Yeah, especially when those international leaders and what they're up to.
We're in 15 languages. We're in 180 countries. Actually, while the U.S. is our biggest market, it only represents 40% of the business. So the majority of the business is international. And we think that speaks to the global need for this product.
Yeah, everyone is worried about it. John Broad, thank you very, very much. Watch this very closely because I tell you, that's half the problem right there. Once it's out there, can you get rid of it? That's what everyone's worrying about.